Hello and welcome to ChapterSkip. I'm Mark.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Sean, and we're bringing you movie reviews.
With a twist.
And we're reviewing the film Big Bad Wolves.
After being dubbed the best film of 2013 by Quentin Tarantino, we just knew we had to track down and find a copy of Big Bad Wolves to watch and review.
The film was released on the 17th of January in selected theatres and on demand, and as the flick wasn't playing anywhere near us, we opted for the on-demand version.
And it comes from Israel, and the film is in Hebrew.
So just be aware that if subtitles aren't your thing, you might want to think twice.
Also, as we're not especially fluent in Hebrew, some of our pronunciations may be a little bit lacking. So we'll apologise beforehand for anyone whose name we get wrong.
Big Bad Wolves was written and directed by Aharon Keshels and Novat Papushado, who teamed up together on their previous film called Calavet, which is better known as Rabies to English-speaking audiences. And interestingly, Rabies is apparently the first ever Israeli horror movie to ever be made.
On a brief side note, the two of them are also doing a segment on the upcoming ABCs of Death 2, which is out later this year.
The plot for this tense, dark and oftentimes morbidly funny flick centres around three central characters. First of all, there's vigilante police detective called Mickey, who's played by Steve Carell. Just kidding. Although I did find myself looking at the actor and thinking he did look a lot like him. Mickey's been played by Lior Ashkenazi, who also made an appearance in the 2010 flick Rabies.
Next there's Dror, who's played by Rotem Kiernan. Dror is a school teacher who one day gets nabbed by the police as there has been a spate of murders where young girls have been kidnapped, raped and then murdered. And the police believe that Dror is the man responsible. And as can be expected, the third main character is the girl's father, Gidi, and he's played by Tazahi Grad. And he decides that as Dror was questioned by the police, then he must be the man responsible.
But before Giddy can get his hands on the timid, shy schoolteacher, Dror is taken in and interrogated by Mickey pretty brutally with a phone book. It just makes me wonder how many other methods of interrogation Mickey had to go through before he decided on the phone book.
Why were you playing drums at 3 AM this morning? Fine. Have it your way. I have methods in making you talk. Family and friends, you million quid! Do you like them crumbs all over you? Huh? But you don't like that, do you? Do you want to talk? Right. Have it your way. Time to bring out the big guns. Sean, can you make me a cup of tea? Extra hot, please, mate.
There you go, mate. Be careful. It's really hot.
Cheers, mate. You ready? Why were you playing the drums at 3 AM? I know it was you! Stop lying to me! Ready to talk?
It was me, Mark.
I knew it was you. Sean, you can cut your fingernails and put the blackboard away now. We ain't gonna need that. He's confessed.
Ah, cool. What should I do with these hot dogs with little condoms on them?
Yeah, let's stick him in him anyway.
At this point in the movie, the film seems very similar to Prisoners, with a similarity almost scene for scene.
Yeah, as they both feature a young girl getting kidnapped, a defenceless half-wit getting his ass beaten, and a crazed father wanting to get answers. If you want to compare our review of Prisoners with this movie, then check out the video below. Just be aware Mark does attempt to sing.
And it's beautiful. Anyhow, moving on. Due to the nature of the questioning, the police are forced to let Dror go, and matters aren't helped by the fact that the beating was filmed and subsequently uploaded onto YouTube. As a result of this, Mickey gets taken off the case, so he goes rogue and tracks Dror to his house to keep a watch out for any suspicious behaviour.
Meanwhile, Giddy seems to be dealing with the disappearance of his daughter pretty well.
That is, until a young girl's body turns up at the local park.
This is where Giddy snaps and decides to go on a little house hunting, looking for a property to accommodate our suspect. The estate agent does come across as a little dim though. I mean, when a client is asking you to yell at the top of your voice to see if anyone upstairs can hear you, wouldn't that ring a few alarm bells?
Hello there, how you doing? My name's Rick. I'm going to be showing you around this property today. Oh, please do come in, come in. Thank you, thanks for coming. Yeah, come through, yeah. How you doing? Yeah, okay, yeah, excellent, lovely. Right, first stop on the tour. As you can see, we've got a lovely spacious living room with a hardwood flooring.
Dick, isn't it?
Rick.
Sorry. So, Prick, can you clean blood off these hardwood floors?
Sure, you know, if you were to cut yourself shaving, not that you do much of that. Why'd you ask?
No reason, Mick.
It's Rick.
Hey, Slick Rick, what's the deal with this spare room for here then?
Ah, it's Rick, by the way, and it's a fully soundproofed room, perfect for the master.
Sick! So I can drum in it all night and no one would hear me.
Well, it's Rick, and yeah, you could, but this is a quiet neighbourhood, so we advise people to keep the noise down, okay?
Nick, can you tell me a bit about this kitchen?
It's Rick, by the way, and as you can see, it's a lovely sizable kitchen with all of the mod cons.
Has it got one of them swirly whirly sink grindery things?
A garbage disposal? Yeah, it does indeed, yes.
Cool. Can you use them to grind up bones?
Well, you can, but it's not really advisable. Why will you be grinding bones, may I ask?
Yeah, no reason, Slick. Just got a few odds and ends to get rid of, that's all.
It's Rick, and will you guys be making an offer on the house?
Well, Nick, I need to know about the garden. Is it big enough to bury something in it, say, roughly the size of a human body? Maybe a bit smaller?
I know what you're up to. Do I look stupid?
No, you look like a dick.
My name's Rick!
No, I didn't mean the abbreviation of Richard. I just meant that you look like an enormous cock.
So, with a soundproof basement in which to torture his victims, Giddy sets out to capture Draw.
The problem is that Mickey is also after the same thing, so it's not too long until their paths all collide.
Eventually, 3 of the big bad wolves end up in the basement. And what goes on in the basement? Well, you're just going to have to watch the movie to find out. Let's just tease you by saying there's a touch of torture with a blowtorch, a priceless pedicure with some pliers, and some harmful hand hammering. And some cake. We can't forget the cake.
As you may have guessed from the nature of the plot, what with it being about a father who's seeking revenge on the paedophile that assaulted and murdered his daughter, the film has a very dark tone to it. But, somewhat surprisingly, there's a lot of dark humour in there too. Now I must admit that if you'd have told me that I was going to be watching a dark comedy about 2 guys who torture a paedophile, I'd have been pretty sceptical.
But somehow, it bloody works.
It doesn't go for outright humour and obvious jokes either, but there's a certain dark, dry humour that comes from the situation that the trio find themselves in.
Added to that is the acting of the lead characters, which comes across as believable, and they all did a great job of portraying their roles.
Even though this film has a few funny moments, it still manages to build a great deal of tension.
So much so, I found myself balling my fist so hard that it gave my hand some pretty nasty fingernail imprints. Now, for those of you who are Breaking Bad fans, this movie managed to create the same kind of tension and suspense just like that series did. Although this flick only lasted a couple of hours, so I could easily give my hands a rest afterwards.
The soundtrack by Hein Frank Ilfman is also noteworthy, as it has a nice haunting feel to it and it complements the film really, really well.
So the movie has some pretty big shoes to fill, what with it being declared as the best movie of 2013, and the fact that I really like Prisoners. Did it live up to the hype? Yes. Yes. 3 times yes. The film was great. It was really well shot, it looked great and was really well paced. There's a few toe-curling moments in the film, so if you're a little squeamish, you might want to watch out. However, if you've yet to watch this film, then what are you waiting for? Go and grab a slice of the cake and strap yourself in and enjoy.
This dark and slightly twisted film with comedic undertones really delivered on the guessing game, as I spent most of my time on the edge of my seat thinking, did he do it or didn't he do it? Which I find really entertaining in a movie. It had me gripped all the way through. Brilliant, brilliant film. Watch it when you can.
If you take the French movie 7 Days and add a sprinkling of dark humour to it, whilst then adding a pinch of the film Prisoners, and if this time the lead character's likeable, then you might just get an idea of what this film is like. I really enjoyed this movie, and its mixture of dry humour combined with a dark subject matter worked really well. It shouldn't have, but it did. This is definitely a film worth checking out as soon as you get the chance.
Thanks for watching this Big Bad Wolves movie review. With a glowing response to this movie from all at ChapterSkip, the question is, do you agree? We would love to hear both sides of the story. Post any thoughts below, positive or negative, we welcome them all. And to keep up to date with all things ChapterSkip, make sure you subscribe to this channel, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. All the links are in the description box below. Thanks.
After being dubbed the best film of 2013 by Quentin Tarantino... What did I say?
Quentin.
What the f*** is going on today?
Quentin 13.
Quentin.
If you want to compare this review with our review...
Even though the film had a few funny moments, it still managed to create a big deal attention.
So, Prick, can these hardwood floors... Does blood clean off them? Quite, Prick, does these hardwood floors... Done it again! F***ing bollocks, you prick. Do you...